solid group here, so let's go ahead and get this thing started. So today's guest, special guest, is Miss Ashley Browder of the Houston Texans. Miss Browder, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited. I've actually never done something like this before, so I'm really excited and able to be able to like share with y'all my experiences from living in a little small town to making my way to Houston, Texas. And so yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
You have an amazing story, and I want to touch on that a little bit because I think it's one of the most inspiring stories I've honestly ever heard, like in person. I didn't even know it about you until we talked last week
Yeah.
about it. So can you share that experience?
I have a daughter, so she's 11 now, but I was a junior in high school when I got pregnant. I had her the summer before, went back, did volleyball, got to experience my college, or I'm sorry, not college, but my high school life, I guess. But in the meantime, I still worked too. So I had a big like high school mom and work balance that I had to, kind of navigate throughout my senior year. I graduated on time with all my classes. I want to say my GPA was maybe like a 2.1 or a 2.2.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it wasn't like if I applied to any 4-year university, I wasn't getting in anywhere. So I went ahead and went the junior college route. I applied for Blinn Junior College in Bryan. It was
And just so
phenomenal.
I can stop you right there, Ash. So a junior college is similar to a community college, like HCC, one of those 2-year schools, just for the knowledge of the boys.
Right, right. So it's a 2-year college initially to kind of prep you for a 4-year university.
Right.
So it's the same thing. I think in here in Houston, it's HTC. There's Lone Star, and I think there's other ones too but I'm not
Right.
quite sure the other ones. But I know in College Station there is Blinn Junior College, and then there's a Blinn Junior College in Brenham as well.
Hmm.
In all of these 2-year colleges, they're either virtual or they're in person too. I'm not a big virtual person, and God sure did humble me my first year because I think I did virtual thinking that it would be cool to kind of just like not have to go to campus because you have so much flexibility. And through the mix of all of that, taking virtual classes, I took some in-person classes, but you have all this free time. And in college, you get to make your own schedule. You get to do what you want. You know, your parents may be like, get out of my house, or they may let you stay in, but you have a lot more leeway to kind of do whatever you want to do. So I actually ended up flunking out of junior college with like a point, it was like a point 0.5 or a point 0.6.
A point.
That's how bad. Yeah. Yeah. It was really bad.
Yeah.
Um, but I flunked out of junior college, and in my head I'm like, oh, it's whatever. Like, it's junior college. I could easily get back in. Like, anybody can get into junior college. I can get back in. So I ended up applying again for the next semester, and they rejected me.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, no big deal. Like, I'll apply mid-semester for like a 12-week course. They ended up rejecting me again.
Wow.
And so I didn't think college was for me. I ended up going the full-time work route. I ended up going into the workforce, working at different restaurants. Did that for about a year and a half until I came across a guy at a bar one day. And, he was kind of talking to me about like my goals and aspirations about what I wanted to do. And at the time, I thought I knew what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be an FBI agent, a special agent for the FBI.
Hmm.
Um, and he kind of like lit a fire in me that I didn't have before. And it was a 30-minute conversation of him just saying like, you know, no one in this world is going to really take you serious unless you start something and you complete something. And the biggest thing that you can start and complete is to have a degree under your belt.
Right.
So he kind of lit that fire in me, and I was like, you know what? He's kind of right. If I want to be taken serious as an adult, with anything, I need to start something and I need to complete it. So that kind of started my journey back to getting into junior college. So I contacted somebody in admissions. They kind of told me what I needed to do. I had to go through a couple of hurdles, but my mindset then was the worst thing someone can always tell you is no. And if somebody tells you no, you find another way. You don't stop. You keep going, because that's going to be the difference between you being successful and you being where you are now, if not in a worse case.
Right.
So, I had to contact a couple of people. I had to meet a couple of people, just to kind of show them that I was motivated to get back into school. I needed, their permission to get back into school, because obviously I wasn't getting admitted just by applying. And it just took one person to see the fire in me to say, okay, we'll give you one more chance. But, in order for you to go back to school, you're gonna have to pay for your classes. And, you're gonna be on academic probation, which is where you're on academic probation. It's like a semester. You have to basically make A's and B's in all your classes. You have to show that you're raising your GPA. And then you'll be off academic probation. But it's just that time period to get your GPA above a 2.5.
Wow. So you worked through that. You got back in JUCO, junior college, and you graduated,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
So,
then now
well, in junior college, you can go through with the formal graduation, but if you want to go to a 4-year university, you would just transfer.
got
And so my route was that I wanted to go to Texas A&M as my 4-year university. And so when I left Blinn, I was considered a sophomore. And then when I came into A&M, I was considered a junior because of the hours and how that works. But with my transition from JUCO to A&M, I didn't have the required GPA that I needed. And so, like I've told you, the worst that somebody can say is no, right? So rather than kind of backtracking and being like, I'm just going to go back to junior college and see what I got to do, I don't really care. I knew that I wanted more for myself. So I set up with the dean of the department at A&M, because I wanted to figure out what it is I needed to get done. If I needed to stay at Blinn, exactly like what classes I needed to take to transfer over to A&M. And he basically, after I have our conversation, it was 30 minutes to an hour conversation. He got to know me. We kind of talked about my goals and aspirations, and he saw that fire in me that I didn't see in myself. He picks up the phone, makes a call, and he reverses my admissions right then and there while I'm sitting there.
Mr. Russell, thank you for inviting Ashley, and we'll let you have the closing words, Mr. Russell.
Oh man, I think you did it perfectly, Mr. Hartley, guys. Once again, we hope this story was inspirational to you, and thank you guys for joining us. And let's close this week out tomorrow on a high note.